All right, let's do this. So as we can happily see, we've got some code on the left and some game on the right. Well, hold on a second. Left, right, right, and left. My camera is flipping things around. I've been pointing over here the whole time, and it's been pointing over there. Ah! Oh, I hope that hasn't confused anybody, and also mostly because like I'm gonna forget that in the future. So it's if I'm pointing over here, guys, I'm actually trying to point at the little like white part of the screen, which is to me right over here, but to you it's right over there. It was so weird. Anyway, we are here trying to do just some really quick debugging. It looks like we've got Augustine's amazing Flappy Bird game, and he's got some really good code going over here. I don't see any like yellow dots or red dots, which is great. Now he did ask me to help him with his pipe X, but before I get there, I'm looking at this, and I'm also looking down here at the console, the beta. Again, you know what? We actually got a little error. Uncaught reference error, pipe X is not defined. Well, conveniently enough, that is what we were asked to help him with today. So let's look into our code, and we know that pipe X is not defined. Now we could go through here line by line and kind of read the thing. But another thing we could do is do the search. So if we are on a Mac or a PC, that the Command F or the Control F will open up the search like function of like searching words inside of a website or inside of a web page, and we can actually type in what we want to see. And here's pipe. This is going to highlight in our code and everywhere else the 12 different pipes. And if that's not enough, because there's a lot of pipes, right? We could also do the pipe X, which is capital X here. And here we have pipe X, and here we have pipe X. And interestingly, we have pipe X and pipe X, but we don't like these are being used in the same way that pipe W is being used, yeah, and pipe TH is being used, and we can use pipe W and pipe TH. Well, normally we can use those because because up here we're setting pipe W and pipe TH to things, but there's no code here that's setting pipe W or pipe TH. So let's double check here. Pipe W. Yeah, it looks like we're only got 2 spots of pipe W. So okay, so a couple of things here. Let's talk about variables, right? First, pipe W, pipe TH, even pipe X. Down here, pipe gap. CVS, that's short for canvas.height. Bird radius, bird Y, bird X. All of these are variables, and they're like words. We've given them names, and they're standing in place of like other values. And so an example value of like canvas.height might be like 350, right? That happens to be what the height of our canvas is, so that is actually the value. The 350 is the actual value that canvas.height or the CVS.height is actually referring to. It's kind of like a box, right? Like if you've got a box, you could put like a sticker on the box and name it, right? Maybe you've got a box and you're going to put a whole bunch of like silverware or something in it, so you name it silverware. Or maybe you like have a box and you label it forks, but inside of the fork box you've got, I don't know, like 17 different forks. And so we think about the value that's the stuff inside of the box. And the tricky thing about variables and different programming languages handle this differently is that normally you have to kind of like declare your variable. So you like have to set it up, you have to create your variable. And as we look at this code up here, this is kind of what's happening right here. So we've got this section of code right here. Let's go ahead and start with this one. It says var. That's the code for variable in JavaScript. And this is the name of the variable, so this is what we're going to call it. It's the label we're going to put on our box. And then we have this single equal sign, which you can kind of read if you're reading this out loud, right? It's not like an equal sign in math where like you're checking to see if things are equal and you can do like equations and stuff. That's not what it is. It's more like it gets the value, right? And so this variable called bird X gets the value of whatever is over on this right hand side of the equation. And this is going to be the canvas width divided by 4. So whatever the canvas width is, up here the canvas width is actually going to refer to 288 divided by 4, which would be a number. Let me get out my trusty calculator because I don't want to be wrong on the internet. That would be horrifying. Also, I've been wrong on the internet before. 288 divided by 4 is, of course, 72. So the bird x, the value that's being stored in the variable bird x is actually 72. But it's a lot more, like, it makes it easier to read and understand the code, because what if bird x changes over time, right? What if the bird, moves? And if it moves, then it's really like 72 suddenly becomes 73, or maybe it becomes 28. And what if like 28 is the same as some other 28, right? They might have the same values for a second, but it gets confusing. And so that's why we use the names of the variables instead of the values, right? Because we can do a lot more with it that way. But when we have a situation here where our code says that, like, a variable, let's run this one more time. It says that pipe x is not defined. What that means is that there's no line of code like this for that particular variable. So this has got bird x, but we don't have a pipe x. And so we need to have a spot in our code that creates the pipe x. And for this particular thing, because we've got our variable here, draw pipe, right? We've got a variable drop bird. Well, these are actually kind of functions, right? Where update function, step function, key handlers. I'm not seeing any of the pipe stuff. Here's my update function. We're not quite drawing the pipes yet. So, wait, hold on. We're not drawing the pipes yet. So why is it giving me that error then? I don't know. Normally it doesn't, but whatever. So we would normally have another function or another situation that creates a pipe. And it doesn't look like we have that here. So what we want to do, if I'm remembering correctly from the last video, is we're going to need to create a kind of, let's go ahead and do it right here, right by the draw pipe function, because that's near inside of the code. I mean, it doesn't have to be near logically. We need a function. Oh, or a pipe. Let's go ahead and have a var pipe, and we're going to make that equal an array. And these two square brackets is how we set up an array. And right now it's just an empty array, but we'll make it have more things later. And we're setting up the pipe as an array. We have to think through this because we're going to have more than one pipe on the screen, and we don't want to have like a pipe 1 variable and a pipe 2 variable and a pipe 17 variable, with the only thing changing in that kind of variable. Everything else is, I mean, they might have all different like positions on the screen, but everything is really, really similar. So let's go ahead and just make it an array, right? And so we're going to need this like, how do we make a pipe? What does a pipe have? And so just looking at the rest of this stuff, we might have, it looks like we can just do function. Let's spell things right. Function. I think I called mine make pipe. And here we go. We've got, this is our function make pipe. And make pipe is going to set up different things that a pipe can have, right? So this dot x equals, let's set it at, I don't know, 72, right? That's great. And then, well, for now, let's just do that. Let's try it now to make a pipe. So actually have, that kind of thing to kind of finish setting it up. We need to have like a pipe, and then the 0, when it's an array, we make arrays. They start counting at 0. You go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up. So the 0th, or the very first position in that array, we're going to go make a pipe. Boom. And that will make a pipe. So now, if I run this, still got the same error, right? Let's clear the console. Let's run it again. We've still got that same error, pipe x is not defined. And that's because this has a dot x, right? So it's this dot x. So down here in our line 84, it looks like, right here. No, that's 75. Weird. Show me the code. Yeah, it does. It says 84, but it's totally not 84. It's right here. So this should be a pipe.x and a pipe.x. And now if I run it, we're going to get, oh, clear the console, run it. Well, that's disappointing too. We still have another error here. Oh, okay, hold on. So let's see. This is coming here. We're just going to clean up some of the way that the code looks here, because I thought for a second, why do we have a draw function that's not got a... It says, oh, it says pipe W is not defined. Okay, well that's because we didn't have a pipe W, right? We got to read our error messages. I just saw that it just said pipe again, and I didn't actually read it. So we're running into a similar situation where our pipe X is now working because it's been defined, but our pipe W is not defined. And we can actually, we could make, you know, a pipe W up here, right? We could just have another var pipe W equals like 17, right? Or we could do a similar thing down here. I don't know that the pipe width is going to change very often, but the simple fact is though, like if we're making a pipe thing, we can also just make a pipe thing. I think this is a little bit different than what I did in the other video, but we could do a this.w, and then we can set it to whatever we want to set it to. So now we've got a 17, right? So we can run this, and oh, we still have the error because down here, just like we made this a pipe.x, we need to make this a pipe.w. And since we know we're going to need to do it down there, that next line, we're going to just change that right there. So we run it this time, and then we've got a pipe.th. And so this is the pipe.th. I don't know what a th stands for, but well, looking at this, it's going to be a rectangle. So this is the x position, this is the y position, this is the width, and this is the height. Okay, so th, I mean, that's fine. We're going to call it the height, right? And we can do that here, right here in the this.th equals, now see right here, let me just make some spaces there. The height of every pipe actually kind of wants to change. We want to use like a random number in there. Otherwise, we're going to have all of our pipes like the same spots, right? So I'm just going to put a number in there. And then I'm going to make a little comment, make this random, okay? And then I'm just trying to get it to kind of work. Let's clear the console, let's run it. Okay, I've still got the error. That's because I made the th up here, but I have to change the way it looks down here, right? So here's my .th. So I'm just going to put a dot in there, put a dot in here, and let's run this. Okay, and it looks like now we have a new error. It's still with the pipe though, pipe gap. So well, let's do the same thing again. Let's put a dot there, and let's come on back up to the top here, and let's make a this dot gap. I think it was all caps. Nope, just a cap G. Now the gap is how much of a space between the top pipe and the bottom pipe there should be, or the bottom pipe there should be. And I don't know, again, I'm just kind of picking numbers. There might be a better way to pick these numbers. Some of these numbers might change, you know, throughout the life cycle of the pipe, especially like, for example, the X position. The X is going to start wherever it starts, and then it's going to slowly move to the left. And the width of the pipe probably isn't going to change, but it might be like the bird has a radius, right? We might want to set our pipe equal to some amount of like bird radiuses, maybe one bird radius, maybe two bird radiuses, maybe half a bird radius, right? And then when we change it later, we can just change the bird radius and it'll all be to scale, right? Because right now we're just kind of hard coding these things in. Similarly with the height of the thing, I made a note that should be random. Every pipe should have a different height. And then the gap, you know, right now, again, we're just throwing in 50, but if we tied the gap to bird radius as well, then we would have like, you know, one bird radius gap, which means you have to be like practically perfect. And if you have two bird radiuses, you could be able to go, you know, it's a little bit bigger, and like 3 would be bigger than that, but it all again still be to scale. So if you set it so that your bird radius was tiny, you wouldn't have like a giant gap and have to change the gap later. Also, you'd make sure that like if you make your bird radius huge, your bird doesn't accidentally just not fit through the gap, because your gap is always tied to the bird radius. And so you know what? Let's just do that. Let's just do that now. I'm gonna go bird radius. I'm gonna go times, I don't know, 4. Okay, yeah, that looks great. Now, this again here, bird radius is defined up here, so this is kind of a global variable. We're being able to use it inside of this function. That's okay. That's good. And let's try and clear that, and let's go ahead and run it. And oh, let's run it again, and we don't have any errors, and our ball is dropping. That is a great thing. So that's great. I don't see a pipe on the screen yet, but that is probably because here. No, we do. We have a var update. Do we have another var update somewhere else? We do. We have a function update. That's interesting. And then down here we have this, again, function update. So, oh, we have a step function here too. And we have the step function up here. We don't need 2 of these. You know? We just don't. This one is happening. This one is likely not happening. Or if it is happening, it's the same function, it's named twice, and it gets confusing, right? So let's just get rid of something like that. And we could wonder about this pipe as well, or this var update and this var step function. These 2 areas, or these 2 bits of code, are effectively right here. You know, there's the step and there's the update. And so we don't need both of those happening at the same time. That would be a very dangerous thing to happen. And as I'm looking at it, the code that's functioning in both of those areas is very close. But we can't have it. It's going to confuse the compiler later, so let's get rid of it now. It's confusing me now, so let's run that. Still don't have any errors. And now we can know too that like if we go up here and make a change to like this update function, you know, like maybe we want the gravity to be a little bit different, it will happen. And right here we have the draw pipes spot, and we can just take that out of comment form and run it. Okay, cool. Now we have draw pipes is not defined. Well, that's a thing. So let's see. What's my called? Oh, you know what? It's just called draw pipe. And up here I called it draw pipes. So let's just add an S. And now let's run it. And okay, so we're running and we didn't get an error. There's no error. That's good. And so I'm just not seeing it though, you know, I'm just not seeing a pipe. I mean, it's running through, that's good, but again, not seeing a pipe on the screen. And it could be for a number of things, but let's find out, right? We've got the green here, we got the pipe, X, and we got all these beautiful things here. So let's just make sure first that this is getting, well, I know that it is, but let's do a some like console log debugging. Console.log. And then we'll just print something really quick just to make sure that it gets into the function. And this is actually like, so when I run this, I should just say a whole bunch of highs right there. So let's run it. Yeah, see bunches and bunches of highs. So we're definitely getting in there. We don't need that anymore. We know that it's there. Oh, okay, so run this because there we go. So, so it's definitely getting in here. It should be a green pipe, right? With the X value and the width and that particular height. So I wonder, let's go ahead and just, well, let's do a console log. Console.log. And we're going to just take this whole thing. It's all mine now. Copy and paste it. And if we console log this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to get the values of these particular variables. So we'll see what value X is, and 0 is going to be 0. We'll see what the value of W is, and we'll see what the value of the TH is. So let's run that. And oh, this is unexpected. So it says that they're undefined. Huh. Okay, undefined. Well, that is, let's leave that, well, let's comment it out. Let's run it. Let's clear that. Undefined. So, let's come on up over to here then. And let's make sure, draw pipes. You know what? You know what I think might be happening is that this is just pipe. We don't actually have pipe. We have a pipe 0. Yeah? And over here, we need to have our whole, what is it called? Why aren't you clicking right? Because we made an array, right? And our pipe 0, our 0th pipe, the first pipe basically in our array, has information in those variables. But the pipe as a whole, or the pipe, as a non array, doesn't have information in those variables. So let's see if that helps. Just run it. Okay, we cannot read property x of undefined. Okay, all right. So why do we not have an undefined? So let's see if we're making a pipe, right? Let's come on over here, console.log. Hi. Okay, that'll work. Let's just see if that runs. We'll clear the console. We'll run it. Okay, we make a pipe. We make a pipe. So pipe 0, totally a thing, right? But then we have type error, cannot read property x of undefined. And that's coming down to here. So our pipe 0.x doesn't exist, which is sad because it ought to exist. Well, sometimes you just need to take a break, Gotta breathe through it. Gotta look at the clock and realize you have to go because you have things to do. And you can't just sit here all day fixing code. It's a really sad thing. But not done yet. We're gonna look at this. This is this pipe of undefined. So let's go ahead and right after we make a pipe, let's do this. We've just made pipe 0. We're gonna console.log and we're gonna pipe out. We're not gonna pipe out. We're gonna print out all of whatever pipe 0 is. Let's run it. Pipe 0 is undefined. It's unexpected. Let me look at my actual fiddle and see where I've gone wrong here. Let's try this one. So here's my pipe. There's me making a pipe, right? Now on this one, yeah, I've definitely made pipe W and pipe gap more global variables. They're not being made inside of this. Oh, you know what? We got this dot draw pipe. Oh. Let me see though. Let me just see. Let me just console.log pipe 0. Let's see what happens when I print it out. Okay, so apparently I can't do that. When I try to print out the pipe 0, I get uncaught data clone failure, executing post message on window. Could not be cloned. So it didn't like that. So I can't do that, which is whatever. But I mean, looking here, I'm not seeing any errors. Okay, so the difference, this is the draw pipe function. I just closed the other tab. It's the draw pipe function inside of the make pipe, so that each pipe has its own draw pipe function, which might help, maybe. I have my draw pipes right here though, right? Mm-hmm. My drop pipes are doing very different things than Augusti's drop pipe. So this video is getting canceled. Bye.